let's just start talking.
Well, that's a good.
He's gonna edit. Okay, so
that's a good thing.
We'll start with the NBA Finals because that's going on. They just played last night. I didn't catch.
I saw the game and I thought early on Indiana came out hard, came out fast, but you know what? And the announcer actually said it at one point. It seemed like Indiana was blowing the doors in, and then you look and they're up one or something. But they were playing good early on. And I think Gilders or SGA had maybe let's say 12 points in the first half. He ended up with his 34. His over-under was 34. I forget what he ended up with. 35, 34, 35. Yeah, was that what he scored? Yeah. So that's.
Honestly, I'm shocked with the way that people were discussing this series going in that it was just going to be a landslide. That OKC they were lucky to go to 5 games with them.
But Indiana was that team all year long.
I know.
All year long. You remember? I
had doubts about them. They really showed me something.
Yeah, but I will say this. I didn't think they had enough defense to go to the finals and play with OKC, and they're showing they have a few really good defenders that makes that difference with Neesmith, Nembhard.
Yeah. Yep.
Nembhard.
Matherin.
Yeah, and he's a good bench player. Oh, and of course Siakam's been playing great defense, and all of a sudden he's hitting his threes too. He's high. Don't worry with his percentages, but it's way higher than during the regular season.
And it's crazy because
I think it's in the 40s, 45%, somewhere around there.
And it's crazy because just to think he went at the trade deadline last year and he could have been the missing piece for the Sixers. We could have had him instead of Paul George.
Instead of
Siakam instead of Paul George.
Instead of Paul George. I thought that was the worst move the Sixers made was getting Paul George. I called that right from the beginning. To me, it felt like Harden. Oh, yeah. And I mean, I got to say, he's not as good as Harden. I mean, Harden actually had a great year.
Harden had a phenomenal year.
But as usual, his team never wins.
Right.
So.
Well, the trade proposal was, I know we don't want to add another aging superstar, and the Sixers love to do that. Durant will be 37 this year. And there was some talks about adding him and giving up 2 first-round picks and Paul George. I almost was okay with that because I think that he blows Paul George away in terms of his value. I know he messes up every team he's on in the locker room.
Well, that's big, though. I mean, I think if you look at these 2 teams that are playing in the finals right now, big cohesiveness there.
I know.
They're playing great together.
They're not selfish. Look at TJ McConnell. I'm rooting for him. They had the same.
Look at some of the TJ. We have good players that we move on from, you know.
No, I know. Well, Morey literally waived Isaiah Joe a few years back. We drafted him for OKC.
Yeah.
Like people talked about that.
Oh, Isaiah Joe. Yeah,
Isaiah Joe.
I thought you said Jones.
Yeah.
Isaiah. Although I will say this, he's been a big contributor for them, but not in the postseason.
No.
He's not because they have Wallace.
Yep.
Jason Wallace and some other guys that are right now playing ahead of him off the bench.
Well, there's been some questions now about Chet Holmgren. Like he hasn't lived up to his.
I think he's pretty good. I mean, the guy has to put some weight on. He is skinny, but I mean, they make up for it. And I love this nickname what they talk about the Dorcher Chamber because of the body on him and the way he D's up.
Well, he does get away with playing
physicality, but what defender that's good doesn't play physical, you know?
So who are you rooting for?
And he's one of those 3-and-D guys, you know?
Yeah.
He hits threes and he plays tough defense, right? That's NBA's. It's all about threes. It's funny how they say, they have to hit their threes to win the game. Yeah, no shit. Everybody, it's all about who hits the threes. That's all it is. Everybody takes so many threes.
Boston was like a prime example of that. I think they set the record for the most three-pointers made this past season. But, I mean, obviously Tatum went down.
And you know what? As much as I'm old school, I want to get the ball in. I'm not saying you're not hitting threes, but I feel like you get it in, and you score a couple easy
Yeah.
baskets, but then you go inside out, and those threes are hit more.
Yeah.
When it's within motion and wide open,
Oh,
it opens it up.
on
When you
on the move.
get the ball in, with the defense sinks, you can get it out. Especially when you have Embiid in the middle.
I know.
If we have him,
I
depends.
know. We can wait to hold on to get into the Sixers talk. I was just gonna finish that with who do
I was waiting.
what?
I was waiting for the Sixers. Oh yeah, I guess we were talking about the NBA Finals.
No, because if we're gonna get into the Embiid discourse, there's we got to get into the draft and what we want them to do this offseason with the draft coming up. That's like huge.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about the fact that the Sixers have the 3rd overall pick. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. That should be a massive deal.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the Sixers anymore. They just simply don't. I mean, why should you? I don't blame them.
That was a throwaway season.
Throwaway.
I don't know about Paul George. I don't see it.
No.
I mean, supposedly the big thing was he was ready for camp. He was in great shape and everything, and then he got I think a knee injury.
The hamstring.
Or a hamstring or something. But it changed the way he played. He said he played the whole season hurt, but did he even play the whole season?
And then he had the finger, and he couldn't even shoot, and it was dreadful to watch.
No,
but then
I mean, I always tell you and joke around when we played slow pitch softball and we got an injury or something. Right. We didn't miss a game, because we just wanted to play to win, and these guys making all that money and they don't
50 mil a year.
Yeah,
it's no secret that
when you're talking 7th guys and that making 50 mil.
Yeah.
They're making 50 mil.
Oh, I know.
The players that are 4, 5, 6.
We're strapped down to this Embiid contract. He's going to be making 65 next year. And it's like.
Wait, who?
Embiid, 65.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I think his contract extension, I need to see the details of that. But I think it's crazy. It's 350 mil for
I just want to see if he can do it the whole year. I don't mind some management, injury management during the season, especially when things are maybe even going good.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs that break in that. But
I know.
He's got to be at the top of the game. Every night that you're playing on the field, if they're keeping score, you better be playing to win the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all I want to see is play to win.
Yeah.
This night I didn't really feel it, but that's the NBA.
No,
that is the NBA.
And people
There's a couple dogs.
There's quite a few dogs.
Guy in Cleveland. I love Donovan Mitchell.
You love Mitchell, but I brought up a funny point, and I actually got
Halliburton. You went further.
I got some likes on Twitter because Mitchell is. I think he was drafted in 2016 or 2017. Yeah, he puts up crazy numbers. Yeah, he had pretty much an MVP season. But he also has never been out of the second round, and he's been the best player on his team every year. He was
they
top
haven't
seed.
put the people around him yet.
True.
But now, I mean, you got 2 good big men in Mobley and Jarrett Allen.
Yeah.
And you have another.
I don't think he's a dog. I don't think Allen's a dog.
No, I mean, he's a beast.
He's a beast, but he's too nice. I don't know.
But I mean, I even just go by my eyes when I watch Mitchell play. He is playing hard to win.
Do you think Maxey
and he's
has
a great
that,
scorer.
Do you think Maxey has it? I do. Yeah,
Maxey plays like that.
A lot of Philly fans are turning on him. If the trade opportunity came across, it had to be the perfect trade. Is he on the table? Would you consider trade options for Maxey? I know you said Giannis. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I think it's highly unlikely that the Sixers get Giannis. I think it's pretty much a 0.00001 percentage. I'd be shocked if they.
I'd go for it.
Yeah.
Because there's another guy. I would know. One thing is,
he's
going to play pretty much every night, and when he plays hard. He plays hard. Every minute he's on the court.
He's a little riddled with injuries, though, as of late. Every postseason, he hasn't been able to get out of the first round the past few years. I know he has Doc Rivers, but they've struggled to stay on the court. But he also Dame went down this past year. But I mean, they got lost. They lost in 5 to Indy. I know Indy's on a crazy run, but
yeah. I mean, Dame was hurt during.
Yeah.
He just got back. Not even in the beginning of the playoffs. It was. Did they make it? Was that the second round?
It was the first round.
First round, and he came back game 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
So he did have to carry the load, but he can do it. But they also, haven't done much recently with like the Lopez is there. He's good and everything, but I think his time's done now. I don't
Oh
think
yeah. Well, they were saying, and this is the other thing with Embiid that I think could prolong him.
Mommy.
Hi, honey.
Daddy's not in that door.
They
No.
All right, come here. Come here. Give me a high five. Would you? Yeah. Tell your
they were
tell your
saying,
dad that Pop needs a drink.
They were saying, like this Sixers podcast I listened to, they brought up the idea a few times of if Embiid was willing to accept a lesser role, where like in the new NBA, it's like pretty much nearly impossible for your best player to be a center and to win a championship. I mean, unless you're Joker.
And
But
that's so different to back in the old school days and stuff.
I know.
Yeah, it was you had to have that center.
no, I know.
You know?
But if he was willing to accept like a Brook Lopez role where he's still an impact, I mean, he's still going to feel his presence on the floor, but he's just not going to be at that MVP caliber ever again. They're saying like he will not accept that. So like as long as he's on the team, as long as he's on the team, he's the guy. And like that's the thing.
But he should be because I mean when I always say who's one of the best players in basketball right now, who I'd take maybe number one because he's so young and everything is Wemby.
He went on a retreat.
And what did he do to him? 70? He put 70 on him, right? 70 burger.
70.
Now, these guys came on. We were talking about Wemby's like a shot blocker too. I mean, what's he get? Over 4 a game or something like that? Average?
Embiid's rim protection went down because he can't jump. He literally can't jump. I was looking at highlights.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. I was looking at 2019 highlights, and it was like, wow.
But the thing about him is he can shoot.
I know.
And if he gets healthy enough to be able to move, he still has to play tough down low. But if he starts doing that,
I know.
And opening up his own shot, that'd be great because
it was clear he was
mid-range jumpers.
Yeah.
He's top 10 in the league.
I think like ever as far as centers, just like visually. Who did you see that could do it like that? Like I know,
and he's great at the line.
Yeah,
so
phenomenal.
Get to the line, get down low, go to the basket. Yeah. You're going to either score or get to the line.
Yeah,
and I've seen him with the 20 points off of free throws in a game.
Yeah, yeah.
18 for 20. I've seen. He is solid.
Yeah. This past year was the first year which discouraged me as like an Embiid fan, and I'm still an Embiid defender. Like they don't exist. Like everybody hates Embiid. They're down on him. But this was the first year where he really didn't look like himself. He looked like he couldn't move. And he couldn't even hit his free throws. He wasn't hitting his shots. I mean, we saw a very limited sample size of him. We never knew when he was going to be available.
And he competes. I think he does compete. He wants to be good when he's out there, but it is clearly the injuries. And it's just but it is a business. It is. You got to be harsh. I mean, you can't hold on to people too long. But this isn't the time to even think about moving him because he's low. He's at the lowest value coming off a season where he didn't play.
Exactly.
If he came back and he got on a hot streak, maybe then you move.
My thought is,
tougher.
I think it's going to be hard to move this offseason. As much as we want to get rid of Paul George, we got to give him a little grace. He had injuries too. I think that the best move for the Sixers, in my opinion, is literally just to pray that health goes well this year and works in our favor and run it back.
Yeah, but I mean, we always want to pray for health, but that's not a good strategy.
What's the better? To trade away our...
Because the Eagles used to do that too.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, you're relying on that guy that's hurt, and the guy does get hurt, and you didn't really go out and get the right backup.
Right.
And so you can't have that strategy, but they're going to have to...
That's their only option, though, because they used all their cap space to sign Paul George. They have very limited cap.
I can't believe they did that.
I know.
I want to get rid of that guy, and I mean, I'm nothing against him, but that was just a total waste of money. And I'm going to tell you, Maury's been brutal for us.
This is a make or break draft and season. Like he's got.
Oh, come on now. So we can blow another year or two.
Well,
give me a break.
He did draft McCain late first round, and he drafted Maxey late first round. Those are two hits.
McCain looked good, but I mean, come on. kind of played a half a season, not even.
People were saying that we should get rid of Maxey and like if the trade opportunity, because he makes way more money, you have less like cap tied up into. Oh wow, we got some Maxey highlights.
There he is.
I love Maxey. Philly fans are turning on him a little bit.
Well, that's ridiculous. He's a great player. He's got a great attitude.
Obviously,
here is like you put all your money into George, and him and Embiid didn't play this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
what are you
really
going to do?
What it comes down to.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to win in the NBA when it's about there's only 5 guys on the court,
right?
And your 2 biggest guys don't play at all.
Well, there was a funny thing that came, and it's not funny, but it was like 60-something, almost 70% of our salary is tied up in Embiid, George, and Maxey, and they played. Even Maxey barely played towards the end. He got shut down.
Right.
So, but I think if the Sixers were looking to make a playoff push, he would have played. But I just can't even. It's been nice to not have to think or watch the Sixers and get a break from them. But I do hope that they are in playoff competition next year.
I mean,
like,
that's.
I think they should.
I'm more of a football, baseball guy, but if the Sixers are in it, I love them basketball too.
Yeah.
But I do love sports, and watching these finals and the championship rounds were really good this year.
Yeah, they were really good.
Right now it's great.
With us not in it.
But who you got? OKC, right?
I actually want. I want Indy for some weird reason. I didn't like them. They really grew on me in this postseason because they've just been so entertaining, and Halliburton too.
No, I'm pulling that, and because that's what you do in sports. You root for the underdog.
Yeah,
so they're kind of easy to root for right now. But I think now when this series is tied, now it's home court's back with OKC. Mm-hmm. So 2 out of 3, I think that's going to be tough. Because now you beat them at their court, and now you got to do it again. So.
I think it would be really, really cool if it went to 7 games, though. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It's delivered. The postseason has delivered. The views are up, and it's like it's funny. The year we're out, but we better be back next year. And I will say I think like it's highly possible that we are. Like I don't see why we wouldn't be. The East is wide open. Tatum has a torn Achilles. He's gonna miss.
Yeah, and just seeing a team like Indiana that he got disrespected this year. He doesn't have the. People don't say he's as good as maybe he is. Halliburton, Siakam, they're really good, but they're not even like a superstar loaded team.
They're not at all.
And they're in the finals and have a good chance to win.
Well, if we're going to compare like our point guards to Halliburton, we don't really have a true point guard. Maxey is great. Like he blows.
But the thing is, if you have Maxey and you have McCain and they both actually shoot well too.
Yes.
So that's what you have to have right now.
But Halliburton's such a great distributor. We don't have that guy. Like Maxey really isn't a true point guard. Like he wasn't supposed to be when he got drafted. He kind of just was forced into that role.
But I mean, basketball's changed. It always was the point guard, then the shooting guard. Yeah. And I always think about the championship team in the '83, which was Cheeks at point guard, true point guard, distributor. He could shoot, but he didn't. He wasn't the greatest shooter, but he didn't take a lot of shots.
Right.
He was a total point guard.
Right.
And we had Andrew Toney, who was the 3-point shooter or the long distance shooter. Christ, I forget if they even had 3-pointers back then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I forgot there was a time they did. But and then you had your patent. That's why they won the championship. They went out and got Moses Malone.
Yep.
Full.
Yeah.
And then you had the Doc was your swing man. And then they had a tall power forward.
Interesting point.
That was how basketball was with most of the winning teams then. I don't think it's the same way now. They'll go
all
with
about your threes.
Small lineup and everything. It's about shooting. Yeah.
All about that. Which I don't necessarily love, but I mean it's been pretty entertaining.
Yeah. But at times it does turn into who is shooting the most threes and hitting. Hitting the threes, that's all it really does come down to. So you could have a shooting contest. It's not a 3-point.
Right.
But I mean, now defense is involved, and you have to That's why they say now it's like, you have to guard the 3-point line. You do have to guard it. You can guard it, and if they're shooting them, you better get out there and guard them.
Oh yeah.
But then you got to take care of the inside too when they.
So since the draft's coming up on the 25th, I just wanted to touch on a couple prospects that they're with the 3rd overall pick. They're saying the Sixers are going to go after. The obvious one, the first one that came up was Ace Bailey. I am not sold on this player like at all. From all the talks, like he was getting comps to Kevin Durant. He absolutely is not Kevin Durant.
Rutgers?
He's Rutgers.
Yeah.
I can't be sold on either of those players. I know Dylan Harper, they said he's like a leg above Bailey. That's why he's the 2nd overall pick. And they were saying the Sixers might trade up with the Spurs to get that. But I'm like, why would you trade up one? I don't really get the sense of that. But if he's that much better and you think he's your guy.
I guess you're not worried about San Antonio picking him, but somebody else jumping in that spot for.
Yeah. And I can't be sold.
But let's face it, there's only one spot that is going to be a big time difference.
And I was heavy watching him in the tournament like he was ours. Like that, even though they rigged the draft.
The lottery.
I was I was ready to like have him on our team and envisioning him next to like backseat.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
But
that really would.
But the thing with the Rutgers players, that's the Big Ten? That's the Big Ten, right?
Yes.
So they were under 500. You've got 2 top 3 picks in the NBA draft. 2. You field 5 players, and you're under 500, and you don't even make the tournament.
That's a good point. I agree with you there.
But my other thing is like it really reminds me of like Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz for the Sixers, where it's like, okay, Ben Simmons was like this huge prospect at LSU, but he didn't care about winning. And the read on Ace Bailey is that he's long and he has a big wingspan, but he forces a lot of bad shots and he wants to be the guy. He can't dribble by people and he really can't finish. So I'm like,
you know what I can't say? I don't know enough about the players because I'm not, kind of looking into it that much right now.
Yeah.
But it's funny. There's guys that you never really hear of.
Yeah.
That come out. I mean, Tatum was where
Duke.
He wasn't Duke, but he wasn't like one of the main big time producers, And look at him. So
we passed on him.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, I know. Was that Simmons?
That was Markelle Fultz.
Oh, Markelle Fultz.
Which is even worse, actually. At least Simmons had a few formidable seasons. You know what I mean? Fultz forgot how to shoot. What was it? Wasn't that his thing? Yeah, he shot with the wrong hand. He's not even in the league, I don't think, at this point. And Simmons is lucky if he gets signed.
I think maybe now we can take a break.
Okay. Well,
I want to get back on. Boy, we went off on basketball the whole time.
All right. Well, then we can cut some of that.
Oh, I know.
And then I think we should do Philly. I think we should do.
Yeah. And then the boxer.
All right, Dad. Start with the Phillies.
All right. I'm going to start.
Yeah.
So, let's move on to the Phillies. We're in season now.
Yep.
Had a little bad stretch.
Yeah.
But what are you thinking about them right now? We just got a big win, right? 3-2 victory today.
Yeah.
Kepler hit a home run. I'm going to actually give you my picks later for a little 3 home run parlay. And you'll see, we'll also show my last win, which was Wednesday. I think it was $5 or $6 I put in. 3 homers hit, and I won $1,000 on that.
Lock in.
But now last night, I had Kepler as my 3rd guy. He was out of his last at bat, if you guys saw the game last night. Hit it, the outfielder turned, looked at the wall. I thought I nailed it, but it went off the wall. And now today, he hit the big home run to win the game. Close again. I'm not saying, tonight there's only a few games on the schedule, so I may not be able to stick it, but I'll give you a little something you can put a little money on and maybe win
and he would have been
big amount.
You would have been able to add in the finals if that was tonight. You would have been able to give your picks for that, but there's no finals tonight.
Oh, yeah. For basketball,
right.
We can throw it in. We'll just give it to them. But I like, instead of putting in a full fantasy lineup, because that's sort of what I'm really good at, That's 9 positions and that.
It's a lot.
I like the little 3 home run parlay you put in.
Yep.
And it pays
Lock
off.
it in.
I just, I think I spent $5 or $6 and I hit it for $1,000 on Wednesday night.
Chuck's
and almost hit last night for $800. But
all right.
we will check that out more. But let's see what you're talking about with the Phillies here.
Yay!
Hey, Eagles! Yay! There's the real stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. After the series against the Pirates, I was pretty down on the Phillies, but they did.
That was
I was, but I will say that this that was a really good. They showed some heart against the Cubs, and they're a good team this year.
And I will say this: in that bad little stretch they had, you saw really bad. Luzardo had record-breaking negative numbers in 2 games.
Yeah.
Everything besides that Cy Young.
I know.
He just came back and had a big outing. He pitched great the other day.
That was huge.
And, so that's good. The Sanchez is pitching well. We'll have to see with Nola coming back. Is he going to – but he may be a 5th guy.
No.
And that's quality there. If he could get back to form.
They're saying now that he has a stress fracture in his what was it, his elbow, or what was it? What was his injury? Hamstring? Was it? I believe it was.
I thought it was definitely a leg injury. It was. They said hamstring. I'm almost positive. But that's kind of a weird one to be out as long as he is. But let's face it. One thing is, you get your velocity and you get your power from your legs when you're pitching.
Right.
If you don't use your legs, you're going to throw your arm out. So it's all about the legs. In a lot of cases,
Oh yeah.
So hoping for Nola to come back, but I guess we have to see with Alvarado's getting suspended. He won't be there for the playoffs. He might come back at the end of the year.
It doesn't matter.
Who cares, right?
Matter.
So I think at the trade deadline, we're going to get an arm and maybe some right-handed power.
Yeah.
If Harper's back and you've got, Schwarber and Harper doing their thing against right-handed pitching. I mean, I love when we're going against right-handed pitching because I love, our 2 best hitters are Harper, Schwarber. And then you still have Kepler. I haven't liked him start. I mean, he was a guy that put up okay numbers. He's probably almost similar to what he usually does.
Yeah.
But, sometimes that when you're in a new spot, you have a great year, and I don't know if I see that yet. It's like, come on, we're 70 games into this.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see more, but he hit homer today. He's actually been hitting a little bit. And June's about when that's when you start seeing, if you haven't done it yet, that's going to be the month you get going. And a lot of the great hitters don't get hot until the weather gets hot.
I actually pulled up his stats, Kepler.
I think he's got eight dingers.
He's 211 average, 7 homers, 8 after today.
8.
And he had 24 RBIs. Now it should be 25.
Yeah, and he's been in the 5 and 6 hole. I mean, that's an RBI spot.
Yeah.
Come on, But now, are the guys getting on in front of him? They're walking Harper. I mean, they're walking Schwarber a lot. They didn't walk Harper, but, then he has Schwarber protecting him this year.
Yeah.
So they don't. Maybe he gets more pitches, although he doesn't. They're afraid of him too. But Schwarber's just go walking. By the way, putting him in a parlay all the time for a walk is
like
not
almost
bad
a lock. It's almost a lock.
Yeah, because his on base consistent game thing. And how many games he's on base? Most of the times it consists of a walk.
But my thing is, I know that they're one of the best records in baseball. I know they're currently in a wild card spot right behind the Mets.
The Mets have the best record in baseball, and they're losing today, so we could be 4 games behind them. Yeah, we haven't looked great. The offense has to get better. But the other day, today was the same thing. They had the inning. They scored 2 runs. They had 0 hits.
Yeah.
Walks and hit batters and that. You have to find other ways to score if you're not hitting home runs.
Well, when they had that bad stretch and Harper was out, their record without him, I believe, was like 1-9. So So I didn't know how much of an impact just having him. Because, like.
And Schwarber actually faded off a little bit.
Yeah,
it was during the but now maybe he's back. He hit the home run yesterday. But
I see the optimism. They obviously have a great record. They've been on and off. I'm just a little bit worried going into the off.
Now they're still third wild card spot as we speak, right?
Yeah, but it's just they have too many holes, in my opinion, like everywhere. Like,
I don't. I think they have a World Series team.
Really?
Yeah,
okay,
they have a World Series team. You know, this is where Father knows best. They have a World Series team. Let's get with it.
But are you confident?
Wait. Don't break your ankles on the bandwagon here.
Are you confident in Bohm, Stott, second, third, and Turner? Do you have full confidence in Trey Turner in the postseason? You
know what? I maybe I'm a little too obsessed with this, but evidently so is Major League Baseball because, now the pitchers have to throw to 3 batters, so I love switching left, right. But I'm so big on. I do think Bohm. I think, Cassidy against left-handed pitching, they're going to be tough. And against right-handed pitching, it's who can hit the same side. Now, righties, it's not as big of a deal. But lefty on lefty is difficult. And Schwarber's shown times where he can hit left-handed pitching.
Right.
But Marsh didn't. Marsh can't. Stott doesn't always play against left-handed pitching. But that's what you have to do. You have to have that nice balance of righty-lefty. And now, if they bring in a reliever to throw, that's why I do want to see eventually. I'd like Harper and Schwarber. I like them together, but for the reason that these guys have to pitch to 3 batters, I like switching it up because you might put that lefty against him, but hopefully that's why we need a big time right-handed stick with power. Because if you can put that there, and all right, you're going to put Schwarber on, you're going to put Harper on. Now your left-handed pitcher's got to pitch to a righty that can pop.
Sal, can you quiet down a little? I literally can't even hear my dad.
Yeah.
That's all.
I thought I was talking pretty loud.
No, you were. It's just a little distracting. I'm trying to absorb what you're saying.
Yeah.
Also, I am flustered now. The outfield. Okay, let's touch on that. Do you have confidence in what we have going at center and left field?
It's tricky. I will say this. I mean, Kepler, you might be questioning he's not doing enough at the bat. No, not questioning. He's not doing enough at the bat. But he's played a great defensive outfield.
Yeah.
And he actually has more speed than I thought. I mean, he came from Minnesota. My thing of him was when I was putting together fantasy lineups and that, occasionally I did like him against right-handed pitching.
Okay.
And he led off for Minnesota. He led off a lot against right-handed pitching. So I do know. I followed him a little bit. I think he can hit more, but I didn't know he was that good of a fielder. Has good speed. So that Rojas is a good center fielder. He's good defensively.
Yeah.
He actually has looked better offensively this year.
He's fast.
Up till this year, last year, and prior to that, I just thought he was such a waste at the bat. I didn't care how good he was defensively.
Yeah.
And then he was making a couple hours, so it was like, wait, where? But I tell you, this year, I do like that he'll lay down the bunts, he's putting the ball in play, he's got good speed, he can steal bases, and he can go get it in the outfield. But then, and then his counterpart to right-handed pitching is Marsh, and he's pretty good at getting it.
Yeah.
Not doing enough offensively. And Cassidy's got right field.
What are your thoughts?
So you have Kepler and Cassidy kind of holding down their spots.
If they added a right-handed bat and Hoskins became available, what are your thoughts of him playing at first and Harper going to the outfield? I know he's not phenomenal.
You should look up. Let's get our stat guy looking up Hoskins' numbers.
I got you.
So. I think I don't know how I think about that, but I've just been saying right-handed power.
Yeah.
He loves it in Philly. Philly loves him.
He's 249 with 10 homers and 37 RBIs. Not bad.
It's not bad, but
it's not
that's not the power.
I don't think the Phillies have anybody batting above 300.
And I don't know if he's been playing every day. Yeah, there it is. So 10 homers, 37. But see, he's a good RBI guy. That's not bad numbers. we're 12 games from the halfway point.
Yeah.
So if he gets another 5 or 6 RBI, he'll be over 40 on pace for 8. You'd like to see better, but I don't think he. How many games has he played? How many games?
Go ahead.
Does it say in his batting average how many games? But
He's played 67.
Oh, he's played most
so
of the games.
he's played most. But I mean, most likely he's been either first base or DH.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know that. I thought he's missed, maybe 5 or 6 more games than that. But he's I would be. That would be interesting.
Intriguing, yeah.
But it almost feels like we keep trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I will say this: I feel like for sure, if this doesn't work this year, you got to do something different.
Well, the Phillies that's the big topic when I listen to Philly sports talk as of late is what is Dombrowski going to do at the trade deadline because there's a lot of doubts about him because he hasn't made the big offseason splash moves. He signed Turner, which Turner's been pretty good, but he has not lived up to his contract. He was supposed to be like our Moses Malone, like our
he's been bad also defensively. That's
Very
been a big
bad.
thing. But he made a couple great plays last night. Really good one. To the hole, to his right, got it and just nipped the guy at first base. It was a really nice play.
But a lot of people are like, do you reinvest?
Offensively, he's there. What are you talking about? He's not hitting homers, but I thought that was a great move for him because until
He has no power.
what was it, the World Cup? What do they call them? World Baseball to see. He went crazy with hitting homers, but I was thinking when we were getting him that he's gonna be a leadoff guy, get on base, steal bases, has some pop, and I liked that Rob told him that's what he wants from him this year.
Right.
And it kind of changed the way he played, and he built his average went over 300. I think it's below again, but he had a nice little stretch, and I think that's his role. Yeah. And then like I said, when the weather's hot in that ballpark in the summer, the ball's going to go. He's going to hit homers too.
Yeah.
And I'd rather see him do it later, like you said. Let's see somebody get hot right before the playoffs, and that's what happened to them when they went to the last, time they went to Worlds.
Cassie always seems to come up big in the postseason.
Yeah. I mean, they have a good group of guys.
They do, but you can't keep riding out culture year after year.
Either that, or they need that. They got to get rid of one of the big dogs and bring a different big dog in, and maybe a younger.
I know, and as much as Harper,
it's hard to get these guys.
I don't want us to get rid of Harper, but as much as he's a Philly fan favorite, I think he's aging a bit, and I think he's losing power.
You go against Harper a lot.
I love Harper.
What are you going to do when you start seeing?
I love it. I want that.
Come on.
I love that. I want that. But I heard this the other day on the radio. They were saying one of the concerns when we signed Harper, I think he was 25 when we got him from the Nationals. And
was he that young?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's been with the Phillies for about 6 years.
Well, he was in the league for 4 or 5 years.
He's one of the biggest prospects
He came
ever.
up at 19.
He's one of the biggest prospects. But, he's been in the league for about 15 years now. Or 13. 14. Harper, it came in the league at 18. He's going to be 33 in October. So, but he keeps having these little injuries that are proving to be setbacks, and
I tell you, for baseball, I feel like he's injured a lot. But I mean, one of the other guys I thought was a big stud was Trout. And he plays more than him. But that's not saying. I will say this. Part of the reason he gets hurt a lot is the thing that everybody in Philly wants people to do is he plays hard.
Oh, absolutely.
He goes hard. When he was playing the outfield, he's diving for balls and going into the wall and stuff. But now, at first he had a couple weird plays, but he's got to stay healthy for us to win, no doubt.
Well, they were saying when he was younger, and even up to the past couple years, we saw it in the postseason, how violent his swing is versus other people, and they're thinking that that's wearing on him. He's losing a little bit of his power. You don't see it? You don't see it?
I don't believe in that theory, put it that way. Swing the freaking bat. Everybody says, oh, you're swinging too hard. You got to hit a single. What, you slow your bat down to hit a single? Come on. These guys are throwing the ball 100 miles an hour. You always got to have a fast bat and a fast swing.
Right.
You just got to be – the hardest thing is recognizing what the pitch is, when you got that split second to do it, and when you're thinking it's a fastball and you start your swing, and that thing drops off the table. Most people are going to look like a fool. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things in sports
absolutely.
to do. Yeah.
We haven't seen one of those months in a while from him. I'd love to see it, like when he comes
That's
back.
him, and June is
Schwarber's
month.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing that go yet. But I don't think he had a great June last year. It was pretty good, but he was the same thing.
He had a stretch where he was like.
Yeah. But part of that was like, I think he's had 20 home runs in June or something like no, that'd be crazy. 12, 15, 12,
That's
13.
Probably accurate.
I have to.
Where is he as far as like he was up there with the rankings? He was tied for first. I don't think he is anymore.
No, well, I think
Judge.
the last guy that I saw leading it was Cal Raleigh.
Wow.
Cal Raleigh from Seattle. He's Seattle's catcher.
Wow.
He's played every game. Now he plays DH too. He doesn't catch every game, but
right
now you got to say he could be one of the best catchers in the game.
And JT, he's still like good defensively.
And that's I don't know what time it is, but maybe too late. But I wanted to give my 3 home run picks. And well, I don't know if the game has started yet or not, because I think I might have the Yankees. Boston in there. But I know I was also going to do another fun one tonight is 2 for Ohtani and 2 for Judge. I didn't put that in to see what the odds are or anything like that yet because the game may have started. But the one and this was just doing this in the last half hour to give out some winners, hopefully. But I picked up okay, it's on the screen now. So for tonight's 3 homer parlay, we picked 3 players. We have Willie Adames for San Fran, and they're playing. From my memory, they're playing Dodgers, and Kershaw's on the mound, and Kershaw, is a stud, but he doesn't have his stuff, yet this year, and he's been giving up some home runs. Adames has been off to a slow start, but starting to hit. I think he has a chance to put one out tonight, so I put him in this parlay. Also, I picked this one too, where I like the lefties in the Dodgers lineup against. I think it was Zach Gallen. And so there's obviously I like Ohtani and also maybe Bellinger, but Muncy has good odds. He's been hitting some home runs. Again, slow start, but he's starting to hit. So there's one, and I think the wind. I love checking out the weather and seeing if when it's a warm night, wind going out. There's no great conditions like that tonight, but I did see the winds going out there, so that always helps. And then the last player in that is Jackson Merrill, batting in the 4th hole for Padres. And he has a right-handed pitcher. I don't remember exactly who he's going against. I don't know if it says it up there, does it? My eyes are terrible.
They're at the Diamondbacks.
But he's the 3rd play in that. And Ryan, put it up one more time. I want to see what the odds there is. So if you pick those 3 guys that hit home runs, they hit home run tonight. And this is on.
Look at this.
This is on FanDuel.
Just $5.
So for $5, these 3 guys hit a home run tonight. You win $915.74.
Now the odds are a little crazy.
Yeah, the odds are up there, but sometimes you look at it like the guys like Judge and Ohtani. Now they're starting to get their home run odds are under 200 sometimes, and it becomes not a value play for a guy hitting a home run in Major League Baseball. Right. So really, if you like a game, what I tend to do, and like I said, tonight's not the perfect night, but now that summer's starting to hit, and when the weather gets warm, and you're also seeing wind out in some of these certain ballparks, I look for somebody in that lineup that I could put in there, and maybe one from each lineup, because it's just a great condition for hitters. That's just some of the things I look at. Now also, I didn't have time, but you can go in more. You go in more depth, and you want to see what the pitcher batter matchup is, and I didn't have those details today. But from now on, let's see what this play does, and there's going to be more to come.
Lock it in.
Maybe we can.